What is up, guys? Today we're going to talk about self-improvement and some of the key things that I've learned in self-improvement and some things that you need to keep in mind if you're young, if you're just starting out on self-improvement. I've been doing self-improvement now for nearly 4 years. So the first kind of realization that I had with self-improvement, it all kind of started with wanting to improve my life. I wanted to achieve certain things in life. I've always wanted to be a millionaire. I've always wanted to be rich. I've always wanted to have that successful kind of lifestyle. One of the biggest realizations I had was in order to achieve that, I was going to have to improve myself. So if you're going to improve your life, you've got to improve yourself. Obviously, when you're young, you sort of think that you can have these endless kind of dopamine highs, come home from school, jump on your PS4, just play GTA 5 all day, pretty much doing nothing all day, just kind of enjoying myself, going with the flow, and you kind of accept that things are going to come to you, but it's not the case. If you want to improve your life, you've got to improve yourself. I was the same. When I was young, you think you're special, you might think you're special now, but one of the key things I've kind of learned is that no one's special, you're not special. And in order to be special and live an exceptional life, you need to do special things. You need to do different things that most people aren't doing. So we're going to go straight into this with the first thing that I think is the most crucial, fundamental kind of pillar of self-improvement. And that's to focus on your mind and your body. So this is a little quote from Hamza that I really like. If you don't know who Hamza is, get to know who Hamza is. Hamza is probably the reason that I started self-improvement, or probably definitely the reason I started self-improvement, to be honest. And he says, choose the right lake, choose the right boat, then row as hard as you can. Now, that's really simple, sounds kind of silly, but it makes total sense. The right lake is like, what market do you want to be involved in? The right boat is what vehicle you're going to use to do that, whether that's YouTube, whether that's setting up some kind of podcast or some sort of certain business. So those two things are separate. And then row as hard as you can. That's the bit we're going to focus on. This is kind of the first fundamental pillar of self-improvement, is the row as hard as you can bit. Because if you can't row whatever vehicle you decide to get into, whatever boat you decide to choose, whatever that may be, if you can't row that as hard as you can and as efficiently as you can, then you're not going to get anywhere in life. So the first way to do this, if you're not already doing it, get to the gym and optimize your health. So this is the first thing, and I've spoken about this before. The first thing I did to get on self-improvement, essentially, and to start my self-improvement journey, really start seeing some progress, was to get to the gym. It's the first thing I did during lockdown, during COVID. I actually had a little bench and some dumbbells, and just did home gym. I just literally went on YouTube and learned everything in terms of how to work out, how to lift weights, all the different exercises, and actually executed that at home when I had all that spare time. And that's kind of how I started on the whole improving my body, my mentality. Everything started with just picking up a set of weights. So if you're not already doing it, get to the gym and start lifting weights. I want you to remember this phrase as well at the top: you are what you eat. That's been a phrase for probably like 1,000 years now, but it's so true. You literally are what you eat. Anything you put in your mouth, that's what you are. If you're eating junk food and chocolate all day, then that's not going to be good for you. That's going to negatively impact your mental health, physical health. So you need to sort out your diet, sort out your nutrition. I've got plenty of videos on this channel talking about nutrition, talking about diet. So go back and watch them if you want. But this is the main sort of key fundamental stepping stone, I think. If you're getting on self-improvement, this is the first thing you want to do. You need to optimize your mind. You need to optimize your physical health. And because that's the rowing part of that quote. If you're going to do something, anything you're involved in, you need to be able to row and push through that and actually execute things that you set out to do. And in order to do that, you've got to have a great mind and you've got to be in good physical condition. Sleep is super, super, super important. Sleep's where you build all your testosterone. Sleep's where you build all your muscle. If you're not sleeping well, you're not performing well. Simple as 8 hours a night minimum. And I put another little thing in here. Just get 2 hours a day outside. I work a 9 to 5. You might work a 9 to 5. I know how hard it is to get outside. Just make up an excuse. Whilst you're at work, if you sit down for 2 hours and do some work, just literally get up off your desk and go stand outside for 5 minutes. Next, set realistic goals. So goal setting is something that I've learned recently how to do properly. And it actually takes quite a lot of time. It's quite an intricate process. I'd recommend going to watch Alex Hormozzi's video on setting goals. It was super, super helpful for me. But set it to a minimum of 6 months. So a lot of people, and I've been, I've fallen to this mistake before, is you set a goal and you expect to get it done in like 90 days. All right, 3 months. You say, okay, in 3 months, I'm going to go from making £1,500 a month to £10,000 a month. I'm going to set up a business. It's going to be up and running. It's going to be well ahead in 3 months. If I set up this YouTube channel with the goal that in 3 months I was going to be at 10,000 subscribers, I would have literally probably not even made the YouTube channel, honestly. I've set a goal for this YouTube channel to be at 1,000 subscribers by this time next year. Extend the timeline. The more and more you extend the timeline, the more and more achievable the goal becomes. I'd say whenever you're setting a goal, try to set it between 6 and 12 months, because anything over a year and you kind of not push towards doing it, but anything under 6 months and you're probably not going to achieve it. I'm talking about big goals here. So I'll put some examples down here. I'm going to go from 15% body fat to 11% in the next 6 months. That's realistic. And you need to say, I will do this by, and then you're actually going to implement a strategy on how you're going to do it. And then another example here, this is straight from me. I will create and edit and upload my first 100 videos in the next 8 months. That means I've got to do 3 videos a week. That's achievable. I've been doing a video a day recently, and it's been achievable. It's been difficult, but it's been achievable. So 3 videos a week, I could get 100 videos done in the next 8 months. If I post 100 videos to this channel, I will be further ahead than I am now. Simple as. So set a goal, do it once, sit down and actually set some goals for yourself the next 6 months, fitness related and career related, and stick to them. Visualize failures. This is something I learned recently from Andrew Huberman, who I've talked about a lot on this channel. Really like Andrew Huberman. If you're not already listening to Andrew Huberman's podcasts, I definitely recommend going and listening to him, because he's just an absolute wealth of knowledge. And there's been studies on this, but essentially, and I'm going to read out the thing I wrote at the top there, which I actually quite like, is dream about success and you will take little action. But if you dream about failing to achieve success, then that's going to sort of enact massive action, okay? So this is how it works for most people and how it works for me. If I dream and visualize about the end goal, having succeeded, living that kind of free life, traveling wherever I want, working from my laptop, working online, making, a decent amount of money online, that's kind of the goal. If I envision that, it kind of doesn't drive me to want to work to get to that, because my brain's kind of relishing in that kind of idea, and it doesn't trickle down to your body to sort of motivate you to want to go and get that, because your brain kind of thinks you've already done it. The stuff you think in your brain, it's kind of crazy. You are your brain, so it kind of tricks your brain into thinking you've already kind of done it, which obviously you haven't. It's separate from reality. But if you actually then think about the opposite, the flip side of that, and think about failing, think about never achieving that, think about being 58, 60 years old and still working in the same job that you're working at now. If you think about it like that and you actually think about that, then it becomes negative and it becomes scary. And that actually really does kind of enact, that creates motivation, that creates drive, that actually creates the ability for you to go out there and make sure that doesn't happen. And that's way more powerful than visualizing success. If you can visualize failure, that is way more powerful than visualizing success. So that's the first kind of tip I'd give you in terms of goal setting and visualization, is visualize not achieving your goals. That's scary. That is really scary when you visualize being old as shit and achieving nothing. That to me is terrifying. Understand the concept of risk. So this is something that I didn't really understand until maybe a couple of months ago. That life's all one big game of risk. I've always been a very, very cautious person. I've always been quite comfortable, I always analyze something quite heavily before I get into it, and I'm always very hesitant. I've always suffered from limiting beliefs. So my brain's always told me that I'm not good enough for certain things, or I can't go and make that YouTube channel, or you're not going to get that job in digital marketing, or whatever it may be. I've always had limiting beliefs. And I learned recently that risk is essentially just two sides of an argument. So that you could risk not setting up a YouTube channel and, not embarrassing yourself. And, I've had this firsthand. That's a risk, people, finding out you're doing YouTube, whatever it is, whatever you think the risk of that is, or the risk of whatever you want to do is, I'm telling you now, it's a bigger risk not doing it. Okay. So when you look 10 years down the line, and you look back and you think, damn, I wish I'd have set up that YouTube channel, or damn, I wish I'd have gone for that job, or I wish I'd have set up that dropshipping business when it was all booming, and it's not anymore. But imagine if you got on the NFTs before that had blown up. Everything in life's a risk, but if you don't take that risk, it's probably going to be a bigger risk not having done it. But there's risk to everything in life, and the biggest risk in life is not having taken any risks. That's the biggest thing that I've learned, probably on my self-improvement journey, to be honest. Anyway, guys, yeah, that was the basically the fundamentals of self-improvement, what I've learned from self-improvement, and some things that you need to keep in mind on your self-improvement journey. Hope you learned something from this video. Hope you got some value out of it. If you did, please comment below and let me know. Yeah, that's about it from me, guys. Have a great rest of your day.